great season for. He's got to make an impact. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Happy Thursday, January 11th. I hope all of you are enjoying your day and enjoying the show as we start our comedy, entertainment, and some informative information. Today, obviously, coaches fired or coaches retired is the topic right now. We're talking about, obviously, Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, Pete Carroll, and the list goes on. But before we go into all that, let me welcome our co-hosts to the show. And we have a live interview today as well, which we'll get into in a second. But bring our co-host to the show right now, the guy that has a face for radio. He looks better in low def, my below average white guy, Brent Chapman.
There he is. Look at turn your HD down from 1080p all the way to 120p. All the way down. There we go. Now it looks perfect. Perfect.
Brent,
I'm excited, Brandon. It's going to be a lot of fun. I got a good friend of mine coming on the show, and I'll let you introduce him, but I'm excited about today.
We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about, which is worse than looking good in low def and worse than being the below average white guy. Coaches have been fired left and right, and then, quote unquote, some retiring. Were they forced out? That's the question that people are talking about right now. And bringing to the show right now, former Michigan standout, ex-NFL player, a guy that we now are learning to love and enjoy, who had an excellent career. We're going to welcome him to the show now and dive into him, one of the leaders of all-purpose yards at Michigan. We're going to bring him onto the show right now. Here he is. The main event, Jamie Morris.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing? It's good to see you guys. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate this.
Hey, I'm excited to have you on here. I know Brent said, we got to have Jamie Morris on. And I said, look, we're going to talk about all these coaches being fired. I said, why don't we bring Jamie Morris on during the Michigan-Washington game? And, it was great. We had Isaiah on, stand back, which was great. But I said it would have been so good to have you and him on at the same time to battle Michigan and Washington, right?
That would have been great. And Brent, you should have came up with that. You should have thought about that and said, James, hey, we're doing this Michigan, the national championship thing.
That would have been interesting. But, Jamie, I wanted some Brent and Jamie and Brandon time. We don't need Isaiah interrupting in that.
You know what?
Okay, well, I get that.
Isaiah was a great guy, and it didn't work out the way he had planned.
Jamie, I wish you would have heard this. He was very confident in Washington's abilities, and I was asking the right questions about, do you really think Penix can go up against a NFL caliber defense, number one ranked defense in the country? He was very confident about that ability, but we saw what really happened. Is that what you think the difference was that Michigan's defense was just so much better than what they had seen in the past?
I think so. I honestly, people take you don't. It doesn't show on film. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't show up on film. But when you have that Michigan defense up close and personal, and look, when you look at the tail of the tape tells you. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at the tape and you see how that defense is flying around. Washington hadn't met a defense like that. Texas was good, but they had some holes. But Michigan was a dominating defense all season long. Now, yes, conveniently, we had an easier schedule at the beginning of the year, but think about what we had at the end of the year. I mean, we had Penn State. We had to play the trap game in Maryland, and then we had Ohio State, and then we play Alabama. I mean, look, on tape, they had an opportunity to watch on tape, and look, their offensive. And so I'm gonna tell you this: Michigan won the Joe Moore Award twice, the last 2 years. That's an award you don't really want. It's a prestigious award, and it's for the best offensive line. But I'm gonna tell you what, it fires up that other team that you play. And for 2 years, when we played Georgia was an incredible team. We were a young team, snot-nosed, going into our first CFP playoff, and Georgia they were determined that year They lost to Alabama in regular season. They had to come. They came through and they went and played Alabama that year, and they beat the hell out. They beat the snot bubbles out of everybody. That being said, we come in the next year, play TCU again. We're the Joe Morrow winner. Their defensive line, they stomped us. They got to our quarterback. You can see. That award I never wanted. I already know. I said, you guys already know you're the best offensive line. You don't need that award. And thank God they awarded it to the Washington Huskies because we got after them. So I'm just saying.
And they had something to prove, didn't they?
But Jamie, listen, you were such a standout there, and this is so important. People watching this round for the first time. I know we dove right into Michigan, and I wanted to do that, and Brett wanted to go for that. But before we do that, because people are clicking on this because they want to hear a story that's happening right now in the media. So I want to make sure that we hit that right away because they're going to click, they want to hear you, and they want to know what you got to say about this. Okay. If you're watching this right now for the first time, Michigan standout, former NFL player, Redskins, Patriots, did amazing things, which all of us wish that we have done. Most all-purpose yards of all time. Michigan, one of the best places to play in the world and play college sports. And you had some excellent coaches in the time. And I'm sure when you played with some excellent people like Jim Harbaugh, right? So
he was our quarterback.
So and Bo Schembechler was the coach.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's my question to you. Nick Saban steps down. Bill Belichick now, Pete Carroll now, all these people are gone and leaving the game. And what I want to ask you is this. You played at a different time, right? You played a few years back, so you got a chance to experience football in a different light. Players went to universities. They stayed there. They didn't leave the first week. They didn't jump in the transfer portal. They didn't leave for money. They didn't do all this stuff. So you got a chance to see camaraderie a little bit different. Your coaches are really important to you, right? Obviously, throughout the years, recruiting process, when you go to the NFL. What do you think, and we'll start first and foremost with Nick Saban. His career there with Alabama, right? Even before that, he's played, I got it here, he's coached 28 seasons, 17 at Alabama, 6 national titles, 11 SEC championships. Did Nick Saban hit the end of his road because he was ready to move on because of his players, or he's just, hey, I'm ready to go, I've been doing this a long time, 72 years old or whatever? Or was it based upon the game is changing a little bit more than I'm used to with players jumping into the portal, leaving 9 players left in one day, including starters. What do you think about that? I know I threw a lot at you. Nick Saban, his career, and like why he actually left.
First of all, Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach there is. And we should thank him for what he's done for college football. That being said, the game and the game itself has moved on. The game itself, Nick Saban was able to move on too. Remember, he was upset when they used to run the quick snap. You couldn't. The defense has to have time to set up. No, Nick, that's on you. You need to do the hurry too. You've got to get your defense up and running. Nick was that coach. We pound him. We hit him with the run game. He changed over time. That being said, this whole NIL, we call it, the transfer portal. I'm in favor of it, but it wore him out. I think it added age onto him, where he had to worry about players leaving. He had to re-recruit players every year, Brandon. Every year you have to re-recruit players that are on your team right now, but you have to re-recruit them because they're being poached by other teams all the time. Everybody's coming after your players because you have the best players in the country. Alabama was a sanctuary for 5-stars, right? So everybody's trying to get those players to come to their school. Right. And the incentive is money. We know what it is. It's money. Money makes the world go around. That being
you
said,
would have made a lot of money if we're in the position we are today, right? And I always think about this. I thought when I played, I had some accolades, Gatorade Player of the Year, Express Times Player of the Year. But you, Jamie, went to Michigan. You've had so many opportunities, right? Even before that, after that. If you were in Michigan and they said, hey, we can use you over here at Texas, or we can use you at Florida State, or you just got wind of something, hey, Penn State's going to throw me $100,000 if I transfer right now in the portal, you would have been in the portal too. And let me tell you something. I hate to say that because I know you'd be loyal to your team.
Jamie,
I
you
know
were playing
love
during
your
the
team,
whole...
and I do too. But the whole point is, if I can go play for, another coach in Nick Saban, or leave and go play for Pete Carroll when he's at USC, first off, you're not leaving for a crappy program. You're guaranteeing your mom, and listen, I didn't come from $1 million house. I didn't come from a 7-bedroom. I have a beautiful house now. I have several homes in Miami, and I have a home I bought in Georgia and sold, and up in New York. I did. The thing is, though, I didn't come from that. I came from a great background with great family, and so if I could have got a $100,000 check and help out my mom, my dad, and my family, that's what I would have did. So
everybody would have done that.
And so these coaches, and to what you just said, Nick Saban is one of those coaches where he's an old school guy. He's a tough-nosed guy. And I agree with you. You can love or hate him. But when you played against Alabama and you went against Nick Saban for the last, 17 seasons, I just mentioned his 6 national titles and 17 or 11 SEC championships. When you play against Alabama, especially in Tuscaloosa, as a coach, you better show up correct, because Nick Saban is doing everything he can to win that game. And so I have ultimate respect for Nick Saban, and I think you can give really good insight, because when you were playing, it was like, I'm the man in Michigan, I got my career. But if you could have made a crap ton of money, that portal would have been where you would have been too.
That door would have been swinging. It'd have been a swinging door. I'll rotate that bug like a mug. Boy, I'd have been gone.
These coaches can't handle this. I mean,
I gotta, Brandon, this is a great question. This is what you're bringing up. And Jamie, I gotta say this first of all, so everyone knows, Blake Corum, who's a great running back for Michigan, right? He ended his Michigan career with 4,548 total all-purpose yards. Just so everyone knows, Jamie Morris ended his career with 6,200 all-purpose yards for the University of Michigan. So, Jamie, talk a little bit about when you went to Michigan, they had you as like a kick return specialist, right?
You like that, don't you? You love that.
I love that. I mean, Jamie's like, I was like 9th on the depth chart. This little guy, and then Michigan's all-time career. So talk a little bit about that, and then like just about your journey, and then how, if there was a transfer portal, because once you proved yourself, or if they didn't give you that opportunity, you could have then tried to do something different. So I think that's a great story to share for the listeners.
The thing for me was
this
I
is who
wanted
we're talking
to go
to right now. Just so you guys watch this right now before he answers the question. This is who we're talking to. He's going to dive into coaches being fired, coaches retiring. He's going to go into that right now with us, but I want to hear his background as well. Jamie, give us the insight so we can hear from you.
I have 3 brothers that went to Syracuse. Everybody knows my brother Joe Morris, who played for the New York Giants. I followed my brothers like anything, but I wasn't going to Syracuse. It wasn't for me. I wanted to go to a major conference. Syracuse was an independent. That being said, I wanted to go to the University of Michigan. I grew up loving the University of Michigan. I was a running back in high school, so and I was what do they call it? A pint-sized dynamo, or whatever you want to call it. And Bo decided to offer me a scholarship. I think it was because the running back out of Ypsilanti, Eric Ball. I think his name was Eric Ball. I know this story because I've gone back and researched it. And Eric Ball went to UCLA. He was out of Ypsilanti, Michigan, and UCLA signed him. So Bo called and said, "Hey, son, we want you to come to Michigan." And Brent is right. When I got to Michigan, you know how nowadays you can go online and look things up. In my day, we didn't have that. So we had you had those beginning of the year books and the incoming freshman books, and I'm reading this, and I look at my name, and it said WR/R, and I'm like, what the hell is that? I thought about it. It's like, wide receiver, returner? Really?
I know what that feels like. But that was great for you. That was great for you because getting into I know you're going to finish this, but getting into the university and playing, as a freshman, I started at kick returner too. It was your chance to say, hey, I'm on the field right now. I'm on the field right now. And
so it was great. I went down and saw Bo, and then I was upset about the wide receiver thing, but Bo's a good coach, and he respects you. And the one thing about Bo, if a player comes to see me, I don't care if I'm in a meeting, I don't care if I'm doing whatever, you pull me out. I'm a freshman.
That's it.
I'm going to say this. I'm 5'6", 155 pounds, coming in dripping wet. And this man.
Hey, you look like a beast in this one, though.
Well, that one, they got me big there. That's Mike Gittleson work. That's our strength and conditioning coach.
That Photoshop.
I got to props him. I got to give him prop, too. But see, and then I got in there and Bo said, son, what's going on? And I looked, I said, Coach, I didn't come here to be a wide receiver. And I that's not what I'm here for. And he goes, I'm a son of a gun. And I'm like, he's like, you gonna come in here and tell me what you think old coach knows? I know what you are. And I said, all I want is an opportunity. You get your chance, Morris. You get your chance. Now get out of my office.
That's how it was back in the day.
Yeah, that's how it was. I got out of the office, but you know what? Yeah. He gave me a chance.
Yeah, that's right.
And he saw what he liked what he saw. And, by the third game, my freshman year, I was the starter. And good fortune, opportunity knocking. You got to be ready for opportunity. Our starter put his arm through a plate glass window on campus. And, Bo said, hey, call me an idiot, call me stupid. I'm going to start this little freshman here. And I got an opportunity, and I played ever since. So all the yards you guys talking about, that's because I played my freshman year.
Hey, listen, that's important. And I want to talk about the next part of this. It's really important. Bill Belichick now is we don't know exactly what's going on. There's been so many confusion stories with Robert Kraft, what Robert Kraft was seen doing, what Belichick was seen doing, and what Tom Brady's doing. So Tom Brady's gone. The Patriots are in shambles. And I'll be honest with you.
Well, the problem is Tom Brady won that Super Bowl. That's the problem. He went to Tampa and won that Super Bowl.
That's right.
So was it the coach or the quarterback? I'm just saying, was it the coach or the quarterback?
What you just
that
said,
hurt the whole
it's
thing.
so true. He goes there and he goes, whoa, it was Tom Brady this whole time. So Belichick was there 24 years. Okay?
Yeah.
Anything you can do for 24 years, whether you are a builder or a plumber, or if you're a supervisor, or like you're on a sports show or a football player, 24 years is like, that's a long freaking time. A lot of that with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, and I kind of have my input on this, but if you look at Bill Belichick last season, and Mac Jones comes in and like, oh, Mac Jones is pretty good. He's an up and coming guy. He could, now I'm not saying he's Tom Brady, but he could have been so great at the Patriots if they would have started winning games. Be like, wow, he's good, right? Almost like what's going on with the Packers, which we'll get into with Jordan Love. What's going on here? Oh, no, he is pretty good. He's in the playoffs now. So you start believing in your new guy a little bit, right? But it just isn't coming to fruition. Then they go to Zappy, and then that's not coming to fruition. So is Bill Belichick, your opinion, and we'll give ours, do you think he's, first off, this is just in the news today, leaving, stepping down, whatever that is, he's out. Is that because he's like, I'm ready to do that? Or do you think fan base and ownership base in Robert Kraft, it's coming from that angle? Because I'm ready to go, or is it a combination of both? What do you think about that?
It's a combination of both. If you listen to the owner and you listen to the coach today, you're going to hear all of this love and everything like that. But think about it. Bill's still under contract. And they've agreed, and this is just my perception, they've agreed to pay him his full contract now. Walk away. They're doing we're bringing in a new coach. We're going to bring in a fresh face. We're going to do some things that we want to do. And Bill, we want to put you in the ring of fame, in that Patriot Stadium someday. Yeah. So they're letting Bill keep his money. They're going to let Bill keep his money, And Bill's going to go down as the greatest Patriot coach, as the greatest coach in NFL history. Now, Bill wants to continue coaching, and he can. Just like Vince Lombardi, when he left the Packers, he went to the Redskins.
Jamie, do you believe Bill wants to continue coaching, or do you think he's done?
Yes, I do believe he wants to coach.
Okay.
Hey, Jamie, if you don't mind, because we literally only have an hour on the show, so if you don't mind, here's what I'm going to say to you. We were going to have you on real quick, and we're so excited to have you on the show. The first time watching, guys, former standout Michigan and ex-NFL player. You play with the Patriots, so here's my question to you. I can zip down this list a lot faster today. I'd like to keep you on for the show because I don't want you to cut you off in a couple minutes and go through this hit list.
Got a lot of stuff to do.
I'll go through fast, Jamie.
He's got
we'll
a
keep you
6-mile
on,
walk.
and let's hit these topics real quick. What do you think about that?
I mean, that's on you guys. I don't want to I don't want to take up your show. Here's the thing. I don't want to take up your show, Brandon. I know you guys got a lot of busy. Hey, I do it for my boy. You know, my boy, he's usually in my ears when I'm walking 6 miles a day. No, you're on the show now. Here's the thing. I can't do it because I always tell Brent this. If nothing's falling like rain or snow, I'm always outside. The only reason I'm available today is because it's snowing outside and I'm going to get on the treadmill.
So look. Here's what we'll do. Obviously, we're going to finish up Bill Belichick. Let's just hit this list
How
really
about
quick.
this? You go when you need to go, Jamie. You say, I got to run, and then you just drive.
All right, so look. We got Jamie here for the show now. We only got 30 minutes left anyway. So Jamie, let's do this because you're on here. We're going to hit Bill Belichick, PK. Let's get on this list. So first things first.
Sure.
Let's move on right now. Howard, let me see here. Let me see if I can pull up here. Can you move down the list for me, Howard, and go to Packers, Dallas? Or do we need to get Jamie off first? I like to do that. Let's keep him on. And a little bit different than how it was going to be, but let's do that, okay? Make this more entertaining. Is that possible, Howard?
You're trying to move down on the list?
Let's go down the list here, and let's show I got an idea. We're going to click it like this and move on for today. So, Packers, Dallas. What do you got on this, Jamie? What are you watching the game? Packers, Cowboys. Can the Packers handle the Cowboys in a playoff game?
It's in Dallas. Dallas is a home team. Yeah, the Cowboys. And by the way, Brandon, I got Cowboys.
Where you got, Brent?
The Cowboys are at home.
I think I'm with Jamie. I think that this year with Jordan Love, like I said, I think the Packers are just happy. The Packer fans are just happy they got into the playoffs their first year after Aaron Rodgers, right? And so they're just like, woo, we're not horrible. All right, we're not talking about the draft. So I don't think that the Packers have any chance against the Cowboys. I think with the Cowboys at home, I think this is a rout. And I think next week against Tampa will be interesting because I think Tampa's going to smoke Philly. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, I got to tell you this. When I'm watching, and Howard, if you can, slide it down. I know Jamie's on the live interview, so we can't slide it down. If you can slide the ticker down the hit list right there, put us on Packers versus Cowboys, that'd be great. If you can't, it's okay because I know we're on the live show here with the guest. But basically, what I want to say is when I'm watching Dallas and I'm watching the Packers, I feel like the Cowboys are great, and I think the Packers have a lot of love and support right now, and they obviously want to see, this happen. My honest opinion, when I'm watching the Cowboys this year with CeeDee Lamb, here's a clip that I want to show you. This is what CeeDee Lamb is doing, okay? If he has a good game this week and he plays against Packers, there's no shot. I'll be honest. I like Green Bay. I like what they're doing. I like what they're building. I know, obviously, Love replaced Aaron Rodgers. I just don't think they have enough power this week right now coming up in the playoff game wild card to go and play against the Cowboys, especially playing in Texas. I think Dak Prescott's going to have a good game. Not sure how he'll play if he gets an NFC Championship, but I do think that playing with CeeDee Lamb this year, I think the Cowboys do play well, and I think they do beat the Packers at home. And if they don't, for God's sake, if they don't beat the Packers, there's going to be a lot of problems in Dallas this year because a lot of contracts have went in.
Jamie, is my Jamie, real quick, this is my hot take, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this. I think that if Dallas loses, that's 3 years in a row they've gone 12-5 and lost in the first round. And I've gone through this on the show before. Mike McCarthy's historically a guy that has 10, 11, 12 win seasons and loses in the first round. He freaking Aaron Rodgers for 18 years and won 1 Super Bowl. I would say get rid of that guy and bring in somebody else that can take this team to the next level, because they seem to always plateau. I mean, do you think that's legitimate, or do you think that's just kind of how it?
Jamie's looking up. Jamie's over there looking up contracts right now. He's like, "Holy shit, he's making that. He's making that. I should be out there right now."
Exactly. Yeah, I say that all the time. Yes. Look, I get what you guys are saying. The Packers are young, and where they're young at, they have veterans all over their team, but where they're young at is in that quarterback position, and we know that's the money position. This is that young fella's first playoff game, and Jordan Love's it's going to be a great quarterback, but not great this weekend, because I think the Cowboys are at home. The problem is, if it was in Green Bay, I would take the Packers, but I'm taking the Cowboys because they're at home. They play well at home. They like being at home for some reason. So there's a reason for that. Now, they were playing Detroit. If you guys had me going against Detroit, I'd understand it, and that would be tough too. Okay?
Well, look, here's my honest take on this. I would love to see Jordan Love, and we're going to move on to Browns-Texans. Mm-hmm. I love to see Jordan Love win a playoff game. Excited to see him play. I just think for Dak's career, he's got to win this matchup. He's got to win this game. But let's move on right now. Howard, move us on real quick to Browns and Texans. I want to show something real quick. This game, and look, this is important for you to hear this, Jamie, because, listen to this for a second, Jamie. Joe Flacco was a roommate of mine. We lived together in Pittsburgh, right? We were in the same, we were both in Pitt, and then we moved to Delaware. I moved into their place across from the stadium, and I was talking about this before on the show a couple weeks ago. I lived across from the stadium. I transferred from Pitt. Joe Flacco was the most boring roommate ever. There's a party going on. There's people around. There's girls around. Joe's in the room watching like some show that, he was watching like soap operas. I don't know what the hell he was watching, but it wasn't fun. Unsolved Mysteries or something stupid like that. So
General Hospital.
Yeah, he's enjoying his life, and look at him now. He's rich as hell. I probably should have been in there watching General Hospital.
Yes.
So he had the same girlfriend forever. So hats off to Joe. Was a great guy, excellent quarterback. Pittsburgh didn't think so. He went on and did great things. Now he's playing against, I guess, supposedly going to be Rookie of the Year, him and the other guy, so it's pretty close. But Joe Flacco is back on the scene, pushing 40 years old. I mean, seriously. I want to get your take on this. I'm not who's going to win the game yet, Jamie, but how does Joe Flacco come back to the NFL after sitting out so long, right, and being like, I think I'm going to be done. Won a Super Bowl, all right, so he's not bad.
Yeah, right.
But now they can't find another quarterback in the last 15 years that could possibly come from teams like Michigan, teams like Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame, Alabama. Like, you can't find one quarterback to play for your organization. You got to call Joe Flacco from at home watching General Hospital come on there. I don't understand that. So give us some input, what you think, if you can, on Joe Flacco's gameplay. And just, do you think that they can beat the Texans in the playoffs?
This game, where is this game being played at? Is it going to be played in Texas, or is it going to be played in Cleveland?
It's in Houston. It's where you were on Monday, Jamie.
Nah. Here's the thing. Joe Flacco, I'm going to give you the Joe Flacco story. The Joe Flacco story is easy. You guys remember Randall Cunningham? Randall Cunningham who played for the Eagles. Yep. Now, do you remember he took some time off and then he got picked up by the Minnesota Vikings? He had that run.
Yep.
This is the same. This is the Randall Cunningham story with Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco went away for a while. He's relaxed. Brandon. It's like you said. He's got the money. He doesn't need money right now. But you guys gonna kick me some money? Do you realize this man makes an extra $75,000, and I just read this, in his contract every win. For every win, he gets $75,000.
Because they're like, if you win, Jamie, you just said exactly what I said last week. And listen, Brent's he'll attest to this. I said this last week. The reason why Joe Flacco is so good now, he's got no stress. He's made his contract. He's made his money. You're calling him to come off the couch. Hey, I'll play. And then it's like, hey, you know what? We'll give you $75,000 if you win, because if you win, which people were like, okay, this probably won't happen. Deshaun Watson's not playing. Next guy's not playing. Here's Joe Flacco. So if you win, we'll give you $75,000 anyway, because we're winning. We love it anyway. And you deserve more money if you're winning. So I like Joe Flacco in this matchup. I actually think C.J. Stroud's a great player and will be good for a long time. I just think this is the last hurrah for Joe Flacco, and the Browns need this more than Joe Flacco. Browns fans are tough. I like the Browns to win this game. And for Joe, because I like Joe, knew him for a long time. I wish I can get him on here. I know he's busy now. He was just on the Pat McAfee show. I do know I'm going to reach out and bring him on the show too. But, Brent, I think the Browns will beat the Texans. You have a take on that before we move on? I have another topic you're going to think is crazy, but get your take on that, Brent.
Well, it's fine. I'm fine going on to the next topic, being a Bills fan.
All right, let's move on. Hey, fine. I am too.
I'm scared about this because I'm the guy that's probably yelling at the Dolphins fans, chasing them through the parking lot.
Listen to this, okay? So we're moving on right now to Bills fan shot. And what happened, and I'm not going to go crazy into details. The guy in the center here, Bills fan, was shot after the Dolphins game. So this is very interesting, right? All of a sudden, you have a guy watching a game and there's an altercation and you hear stuff like this. But what's sad is the guy apparently was a diehard Bills fan. He had all these pictures, and Josh Allen, if you look on the computer, you're seeing it pull up, was killed after a game. Now, why is it significant? Why do I have this on here? Well, because fans are a big part of the sport. Fans like Arrowhead Stadium, like playing in the Bills Stadium when it's snowing, and those Bills fans in Michigan, and when those diehard Michigan fans are rooting for you, those fans are your pride and joy. They make the game go round. And the band in college, you can hate on the band all you want, but the band has it thumping, right? Like the band is making it go. And high school, it's the cowbells going, right? I remember running down the end zone, breaking through. So, Jamie, a guy that, going to a game, just going to a normal Bills game, Dolphins game, Bills are in the playoffs, the Dolphins are going to playoffs anyway. This is detrimental to hear this. Detrimental for families who want to bring their kids to games. It's just being shot after a football game. Eagles fans are tough, right? Cowboys, there's always some kind of altercation, right? Did you ever see any of that? Did you ever run into, playing at Michigan, and after the game there's fights or brawls or any of that?
Yeah, I mean, you tell fans, we're playing you're playing a kid sport. This is a kid sport. It's an entertainment. Really, you're taking it, this is to relax. Go watch your favorite team play. Enjoy the moment. If you want to say our team is better than yours, sure, you can say that. But it's ridiculous to see fans shoot one another, fight one another, get into anybody's face. You respect everybody, and you should just let people be. I mean, I can never understand why people are like that. It really does the game bad. Makes the game look bad. Everybody should enjoy his or her team the way they want to. If I buy a ticket to a Lions game, I'm not going to go over and mess with anybody from the Vikings or from the Packers or anything like that. Why?
I'm in the same boat as you. Hey, you got a fan in the chat right now. John is always in here every day, supporting the show, supporting the channel as we expand to networks, and a lot of conversation is happening.
John's a Michigan fan. John's a Michigan fan. He said there's never any violence at the big house. And
he said here, big Michigan supporter.
No,
John is in here right now showing you love.
Michigan. We don't fight at Michigan. That's not. Look, we'll boo the hell out you. You go over there and mess with somebody from somebody else. Ohio State. Right. We're not. Look, I don't like Ohio State either, but I respect the players and I respect the fans because that's what it's about. That's why they call it rivalries. You want Big Ten rivalries to be intense. That's what brings the viewers to the TV. That's what helps you out. And you love your team so much, you don't need to be involved. Let the teams figure it out on the field.
Yeah. I agree.
Now, I will say this real quick, Brandon, and then Jamie made up a really great point that I think is part of the problem that the NFL has is, you're right, it is a kid's game, but my youth football team that I run isn't making millions of dollars. And that's why, like, this is the problem. This is a multi-billion-dollar business, and people are spending thousands of dollars of their hard-earned money on this, and they're very passionate about it. And that's where you get this level where it goes a little too far. And in this particular case, what happened was a fan bumped him in the parking lot with his car. They chased after the guy as he was driving away. The guy stopped, got out, and shot him, right? I mean, when you have 100,000 people inside of a small area, right, like that are passionate and probably inebriated, right? Something has to happen differently in these situations, but that's why people get jacked up about this stuff. They're invested in it. They spend time, they spend money on this. And guess what? The NFL has no problem taking it from them and has no problem getting them all excited and passionate about it. That's what they want. And so this is sort of the downside of that they need to address, I think.
So let's move on real quick because we already touched this topic, but now we can get into this a little bit further. So let's, if you can for me, Howard, please back me or move me to Bill Belichick. I apologize. This is now we can actually hit the topic fully. So
Brandon, I actually, to
Bill
continue
Belichick was fired, or did he retire? We just touched up on it briefly at the introduction. Jamie, you played, right? You played for the Patriots, okay? Let's go into this. Who was your coach at the time you played?
Rod Russ.
All right. So now
he was just there for a quick cup of coffee, but he was there.
so now that we have the opportunity to talk about it real briefly, do you think that Bill Belichick was fired, or do you think he retired? Just give a quick little nutshell, because I know we touched briefly. What do you think, real quick? Did he get fired, or did he retire? Or is he retired? I
think he was nudged to move on. I think the organization wants to move in a different direction. He's been there for we said 24 years. It's time for him to move on. This is a young man's game, as you know, Brandon, and we hate to say this because that's age discrimination, but Bill Belichick, he should go, if he wants to continue coaching, he has the resume to go somewhere else. Between the two, the organization and the coach, I think they're going to let him keep his money. They'll finish out the contract with him, or they'll pay him a lump sum, and then Bill Belichick, he'll come back after he retires. He'll be in the Ring of Fame. Obviously, he'll be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So, I mean, you don't want to have a split like Dallas had with Jimmy Johnson. Right. That's what I'm saying.
Jamie, I got a question for you. Do you think that because Mike Vrabel became available, that is kind of what pushed a little bit of this to happen now?
Well, yeah, everybody knows that Mike Vrabel is a young man. He's just fresh off. I can't believe the Tennessee Titans got rid of him. I think he would have made that turn right, and he would have got that team back on its feet. They needed to find a quarterback to replace Tannehill. I think the King himself, the running back, King Henry, he's a great running back, but he's long in the tooth too. But I mean, I think he could have reorganized this team and went and did a great job. But Mike Vrabel's on the table. Look, the Patriots saw Mike Vrabel. You're right. They accelerated this, and they know. I think they know who they want as coach at the Patriots. I think they want to change. I think, Mr. Kraft, he's 92 years of age. And
But you're a Michigan
he looks
guy.
good for 92.
You're a Michigan guy. You don't think Harbaugh is involved at all? And I know off record, it's no Harbaugh, right?
No, now
there'll be no Harbaugh.
Hey,
There'll
this
be
is
no
important.
Harbaugh.
This is Brent. This is really important because honestly, Jamie playing there would have a different feeling and conversation on this because people watching this go, is Jim Harbaugh going to leave because of all the, you can't do this in college football, all the, you're suspended and they're chasing after this and that. Does he want to go to the NFL? If he does, would that be a spot? Because you played at Michigan, you think Jim Harbaugh will stay or will he go to the NFL? Hey, it's open right now.
I'm going to give you the standard answer, Brandon. Here it is, right here. Jim Harbaugh has done enough. If he chooses to leave, he will be clapped on. He did what he said he would do when he came to Michigan. When he came in and said, "I'm going to restore this prestigious college," he did what he said he was going to do. We are in the rare air of being a blue blood university now. So if he chooses to leave, we can find a coach. There are a few coaches that I know that the athletic director has on the list. He's got a quick list. He opens up his drawer. He knows, hey, there was an interview that went on. I don't know if you know this, that Jim Harbaugh missed 6 games this year. And the offensive coordinator, he interviewed for that job because he called the games of the big games. He beat Ohio State. He beat Penn State. So we have a coach that is in waiting,
very important. That is very important because that just shows you, look, next guy up. But Jim Harbaugh can go coach in the NFL. At this point, his resume is fine. So these teams that open up, there's coaches that are gone. There's opportunities flying. He could potentially go there. But let's move on to Nick Saban. Slide us over, Howard. Nick Saban, we just touched it briefly. I wish we would have did it at the beginning and said, hey, we're keeping Jamie for the show because we're going through anyway. Nick Saban just said it. Obviously, steps down, retires, one of the best of all time. Could he handle the pressure of the transfer portal? Could he handle the pressure of kids jumping ship and leaving 9 people left in one day, including a starter? And I'm not knocking Nick Saban. I'm not saying, Nick Saban right now is obviously going to leave because he can't handle it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying times move on. Your quarterbacks move on. You have to build a new relationship. And at this point, when your players are going in the portal and they're making money elsewhere and they're leaving jumping ship and who knows what, you got to come back and rebuild your program every single year. It's almost like an NFL situation. So now that Nick Saban's gone and they're moving on to somebody else, the question comes down to Nick Saban, obviously, I mean, if you ask me, there was no chance that it was a firing. This was pure, what the hell is going on right now with my team? This is a lot happened. I'm 72 years old. He's done. There's no op in his mind going to coach in the NFL or coach anywhere. He's done? Or do you think he, in his mind, could be thinking, oh, because no one talked about that as much. And I think that he's done coaching, but all these jobs opening up in the NFL. Does he want to say, look, I'm done. I did Alabama. I crushed it. I'm the best of all time. Or does he want to look at some other options? What do you think about that?
All right. Nick Saban is done. He got out coached by a Michigan team, a young Michigan coaching staff, everything like that. I'm not saying the game has moved past him, but the NIL, everything that's changed, the rule changings, everything, recruiting your own kids that you already have, everything, it's on Nick's shoulders. Why not Nick? I'm going to tell you what Nick Saban's going to do. I'm going to tell you the 2 mega conferences. There's the ABC mega conference, and then there's the Fox mega conference, okay? And you know who, SEC versus Big Ten. And when you look at it, Nick Saban could be the voice of the Big Ten, the SEC network, which is the ABC ESPN. He's got a seat warmed up. Lee Corso is retiring soon, Brandon. Lee Corso, I mean, he called his, and thank God, he put the winged helmet on, saying that Michigan would beat Alabama. I'll never forget that. I won't forget that. And I went crazy because usually when he puts that helmet on, it's the opposite team that wins. So I'm just letting you know, if Lee Corso got it right, Nick Saban said, I'm going to take Lee's seat. Because, the old coach he's getting older. And it's time. They got to get another coach involved. And you've seen Nick Saban's been doing the Pat McAfee show. He's been doing all of these ESPN.
I agree.
No, I think Jamie brings up a great point. There's a couple of things here and you mentioned it in the earlier part too, Jamie, is they had really been leaning on him. Like I'm talking the SEC, the NCAA, to get involved with Congress. Like I've said before, I was up on Capitol Hill when he was up there, right? They were making him be a voice for this. And so outside of having the coach, they were having him lead the whole NIL stuff. And, I think he just is like, come on, dude, I'm 72 years old. I want to go be Lee Corso for 5 or 10 years and have fun. And he can still, help and promote the game, but he can do it from a different seat. I completely agree with you guys on that. But what's really interesting about today is you had Bill Belichick retire. You had Nick Saban retire. And you now had also, and I'm moving on for you, Brandon, you have Carroll, who, dude, is this not like a big three of some of the greatest coaches ever?
Pull it up for us, Howard. Nick, so let's move on to Pete Carroll real fast. So Pete Carroll, and here's your image. Pete Carroll, one of the best coaches of all time as well. I say that because he had a great college career coaching. Coached guys like Reggie Bush, had a lot of fun. Got to the NFL. I think he did well. I'm not saying he's the best coach, that ever came to the game, but he did a great job coaching. He had a lot of great players. Russell Wilson, one of those now who's gone having some struggles in Denver, and that was a topic yesterday. And now it's like the reason why this is interesting is because he was mortified by this. He was, shaken up. He was in tears. He didn't want to leave. He has a love for the game. And that's what I love. And he's getting older. And Brandon, listen, before we continue on him getting older and what he's doing, and Jamie, I want to show you this photo here. So this woman here, I know on the bottom there, I apologize, it's split at the bottom left there, but listen to this. The woman here is an owner of the Texans. Her son is filing different, issues. Okay, Howard, you can leave it go. Is filing some, reports just saying, look, she's unfit at this point. She shouldn't be there at this point. and shouldn't be there because she can't make decisions. She's getting older. So this year is very interesting for a lot of reasons. And Jamie, I want you to also talk about this too. Pete Carroll is leaving the game, obviously getting older. Do you think that this year is the biggest change of pace of age? Do you think the way that coaching was done back in the day, the era of the older coaches, the tough-nosed coaches, they're all seeming to clear house at this point? Do you think we're facing a new era in coaching right now? Younger generation coaches? Is that why these coaches are being fired or retiring right now? And
I do. I think
chime in on that too if you want.
Time. I think it's time for these coaches to move on. They're 72 years of age. Look, I'm not about I think Pete Carroll could still probably coach for another 2 to 3, 4 years at the most. But it's Seattle and the new owner. They want to move on. They want a young, vibrant coach. Look at that. How it's owned. Look at the West. The NFC West is made. You have a young coach at the Rams. You have a young coach at the Cardinals. You have a young coach.
Yeah.
You got a young coach at the 49ers. You got Pete Carroll up in Seattle. And I hate to say this, but he's a little bit behind the times. They're not going to the playoffs anymore. Pete had his opportunity. It's time. And here's the thing. What they did was, now, again, age discrimination, it's bad, and I hate it. They made him, he's an advisory now. I don't know what the hell that means, but he's an advisor now. Think about it. They made him an advisor. And Pete came on and at the mic and said, I'll be helping coaching. I'll be advising coaches. I'll be advising owners. He's gonna dabble in, and that means I'm gonna finish my damn contract, and I'm still getting paid. So don't y'all worry about me. I'm good.
It also means he's probably not. Yeah, it probably also means he's not running to one of these opening jobs either.
No, he's not running to any open jobs. Pete's fine. Look, Pete knows where he is in his years and everything like that. Pete's had a good run. Do we forget USC? The run he did at USC?
No. Big time.
Do you forget all of that? I mean, Pete has had a great run. He's been to 2 Super Bowls.
Jamie, he looked like he was 70 years old when he was at USC.
Yes, I agree.
I thought he was like, whoa, he's, I like him, did great. Reggie Bush, I came here to the Dolphins, Reggie Bush was here, we talked about it, and I said, look, Pete Carroll was all over the media at that point. Pete Carroll. And then he leaves USC, and he's still coaching. It's like this guy is still the same age at 70 years old.
Well, he got lost up in Seattle. Nobody remembers how old Pete was. He was looking like Pete. He still looked like Pete. I mean, somebody finally said, how old is he? When they said 72, I went, you lying.
Still 72.
I couldn't believe it.
Hey, Speaking of some crazy drama and people getting, this is, move us on, Howard, to Eric Spoelstra. This is interesting for a lot of reasons. So Eric Spoelstra.
Here we go. Jamie, real quick, Brandon, before you go on to Eric Spoelstra, Jamie, I forgot to warn you that Brandon likes the show to feel a little bit like TMZ at times.
You got to do that.
We'll talk about it too. I'm going to use this.
Hey, Jamie, he doesn't understand. Brent doesn't understand yet, and I'm going to help him understand right now. This show is going to grow a lot based upon sports, reality, and what people want to hear. And they want to know what's going on.
Exactly.
Thank you. So let's move on right now to Eric Spoelstra. $120 million contract, record-breaking deal. Now, this is why this is interesting, Jamie, because he got $120 million, but before he could get that money, and I'm not saying it's 100% the truth, but people are talking about it, okay? He got divorced, separated from his wife, but he made sure that happened first. Once he got the separation done, all that was in stone, life is good, bang, $120 million man. So what I'm saying is, congratulations to Eric Spoelstra. Congratulations to the Miami Heat to keep your coach that you love. And people think coaches are getting old, but he's been there forever. He's not old. He's nothing like those guys. But he's been coaching for the Miami Heat for a long time, and he's there, started off as like a media guy, camera something.
Right.
And
he was a camera guy. He was a camera guy.
To one of the best coaches, arguably at this point. And he had LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, Jimmy Butler. I mean, they're making moves, and now we're not going to get into Jimmy Butler's look. That was interesting. But $120 million for a coach, record-breaking deal. Jamie, I didn't ask you, where are you at right now? Where are you based right now?
Ann Arbor, of course. I'm in Valhalla.
You're
College
not leaving.
Valhalla.
So what would you do, Jamie? What would you do $120 million?
First of all, I ain't leaving my wife. I'm staying with her. But that being said, I'm just going to say that because she's over there in the other room.
I was going to tell you she's there right now.
Right. So, but I get it. Spokes don't look old now. I mean, I don't know how old he is, but he can still get it. Like he's trim. He's looking good. That being said, look, I don't fault the man. This is the NBA, and you know what that means, right? I mean, everybody's trying to get paid in the NBA, and everybody want to look good when they leave the NBA. And Spokes, maybe it's a mutual agreement, but I'm gonna say this: it's a bad look on him. He's gonna have to give her something. I'm just saying, he's gonna have to give her something because they're gonna talk about him. You know that. He's gonna be on TMZ or something like that.
No,
hey, listen,
man.
Yeah,
Brent,
listen
what do you
to
think
this,
about that?
Hold on. This is not some lady that he married before he became a head coach. He met her as part of the Heat. She was one of the dancers, one of the Heat dancers. They've been married like 5 years. Like, I'm not saying that it isn't. Yeah, she got a great thing out of this. I'm not saying that he shouldn't do something, but what I think is awesome about Eric Spoelstra, and I love Eric Spoelstra for a couple of reasons. One, Brandon and I both have Filipino wives, and Eric Spoelstra is a Filipino American and the first Asian American head coach in the NBA and the first Asian American head coach to win an NBA title. So it's really super awesome. Filipinos love basketball. It's like their national pastime, and they love Eric Spoelstra. And this says a lot about what he's been able to do and overcome. And I hope you guys understand what type of role model he is for Filipino Americans, my boys included, as a guy that made a $120 million contract as a coach in the NBA. It's a pretty cool story.
$120 million, Jamie, which you did at Michigan and being record breaking. I think Michigan should owe you a little bit of money. Listen, when they had, did you play NCAA football like PlayStation or any of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so
I was on that. I ain't getting no money for that.
Okay. So listen, I'm going to tell you this right now because you don't know before you get off here. I appreciate you jumping on. And today we're going to have you for just quick 30 minutes and then run through this stuff later. But I said, you know what? Let's tie all this all in because you're still there. But listen, I want to tell you this. There was a little article and it came out a few years ago. You should look into this. And my friends have done it and you can file for it just so you know. If you were in any video game in the past, PlayStation, doesn't really matter. Most of it was kind of PlayStation, and they had your number. They didn't have your last name. They had your number.
Yeah.
And I know this because
I know.
So if you were in a video game, and I'm not saying this, not trying to get sued, not trying to explain this wrong kind of way. I'm just saying what I've been told, allegedly, whatever I got to say, caution, whatever. There is a document you can file that if you were in the video game, and they will send you a check. And
Jamie.
My friends did this.
Oh, I'm getting my check. I'm gonna get my
swear
check.
to God.
You should.
There is
Brandon,
a document you can file if you show I was in NCAA 2000 whatever, and because I saw the one I was when Reggie Bush was on the front cover. I'm like, okay, so you're the starting kick returner back there, number 27, doesn't have your name, but it's you, and it looks like you.
My
All
question
you do is you
is,
file it and you get a check.
My question
do you know
is,
how many people told me? Do you know how many people told me they used to be me and play me for Michigan and all of that? Dude, I'm getting paid. I'm going to do that.
Hey, also, do you think, Jamie, if you have a higher overall rating in the game, that you should get a bigger check? I think that's true too. I bet you're like a 93 in that game. You should be in a bigger check for that.
Jamie, listen.
I like that.
Jamie, thank you. Thank you for coming on today. I know we took a lot of your time. And anybody that's watching this, I know we're expanding the show shortly. A lot of things are happening. The networks are there. But we're supposed to come on and have Jamie for 15 minutes, talk about that. All the coaches were fired. We tried to introduce you some of that and have a conversation. We thank you for coming on. Guys, if you just tuned us right now, obviously, Jamie Morris, and keep him on for a second, Howard. Jamie Morris, excellent standout for Michigan. Join the show today with us. Talk about the coaches fired all the way down. Packers, Dallas, Browns, Texans. A lot going on. Jamie, we really appreciate having you on. And as we expand, I really would like to talk to you about some other opportunities and things that we have with Michigan. There's other players that we would like to bring on too. Would like to have your input on that.
Thank you, Jamie.
No problem. I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys bringing me on. You gave me things that I can talk about on my show today, which is the M Zone on WTKA AM 1050 here in Ann Arbor. You can always go to WTKA.com, or you can go on, what's the other one? Jeez, I can't even think of it.
I'm live streaming.
But yeah, live stream it. You can come see. You see what we do. And have fun. We got a big parade coming and we got a snowstorm coming, so that'll be nice. But Brandon, I appreciate you giving me the time, Brent, you inviting me, and I'm glad we could do it, and I appreciate it. And dude, you ever need me, hey, Brent's got my number, and you'll get my number. I promise you that.
We got it,
Brandon.
We'll have you on. Thanks so much for having you on, Jamie. There's a lot happening. We'll definitely bring you back too.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Guys, thanks. You'll switch it back, Howard. Thank you so much, Jamie, for coming on the show. And obviously, we talked about a lot today, and we're still rocking and rolling just to finish up and finish out our conversation, Brent. Again, thank you, too, for bringing Jamie on the show.
Yes,
because
definitely.
a friend of yours, an excellent guy. he's done a lot in his time, and Michigan really, really had to have enjoyed his time. But I really liked him coming on today and sharing some of this with us, because all these games, all these wild card games, and his history with coaches being a little bit older is completely different than our look on this.
I told him 15 minutes, and you held him for an hour. But
that's
that was
how we got to do it. Let him run down this damn hit list with us.
Jamie is great.
So
Jamie is fantastic. He was a great player. He helps run one of the Michigan collectives. He obviously is active. He has his own show that he does in the afternoon in Ann Arbor. He's just a great guy, and we're very blessed to have him on. So thanks again, Jamie, and thank you, Brandon, for allowing him to be on the show. That was awesome.
That was awesome. And guys, Brent, thanks. I know we ran a little bit later today, every day 10 to 11, and a little bit trying to move some stuff around today so people can watch for the first time some interviews. We will adjust some of this. But Brent, thanks for having you on again today. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Guys, thanks for tuning into the Brandon Mason Show. We're so glad to have you here every single day, 10 to 11 a.m. Today we had Jamie Morris on the show. So glad, and we thank him for coming on to powwow with us a little bit and talk about what's going on, the coaches being fired, his thoughts on that too. It's been a crazy operation since that. Nick Saban, Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, and the list goes on. Keep updated to that. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. we'll have some interesting news, some wild card games and matchups. We'll talk soon. Until next time.